I'm Jill Fetcher, Chief Growth Officer at Cypress North. We're a digital agency in Buffalo, New York, and you're listening to the Agency Scoop. Each episode, I'll tackle a specific topic from an agency point of view. We're going to talk about what's helping us grow, challenges that we face, how we're working with our clients, and even things that bring us joy. Well, thank you, Barry, for coming on the Agency Scoop.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Well, I was hoping you could tell us a little bit about you and your background.
So I'm Barry Schwartz, more well known on your channel as being somebody who writes a lot about search marketing, more on the organic side, a little bit on the paid side. But I also own a company called Rusty Brick. It's a New York-based company closer to the New York City area, Rockland County. And we do a lot of software development, custom software development, from web software to mobile app development, mostly around making companies more efficient.
And what's the story behind Rusty Brick? How did you start it?
So my twin brother and I, a lot of people don't know I have a twin brother, but I have a twin brother. He started programming when he was, in high school, like ninth grade. And I saw there may be money in that. So we kind of formed a business unofficially when we were 14.
Wow.
Yeah, in 1994. He put like the name Rusty Brick together, and we're like, okay, used to be Rusty Brick Software. The logo used to be RBS. Then we got rid of the software part and just went with Rusty Brick because all the cool internet companies were just going with weird names. And we kind of brought on small clients when we were kids, like the local Chinese shop and whatever. And then my brother was like, I don't want to meet with people. I just want to program. So I went out and I'm like, what do I tell people? Could we, I don't know if we could build this or not. He's like, just say yes, we could build everything. And I just saying yes to everything. We could do that. We could do this. We ended up getting hired by a doctor association that basically fulfills doctors in emergency rooms. Okay. We built emergency room hospital software in our young 20s. And then we brought on lots and lots of clients over the years, building everything from party planning software to taxi cab software to really advanced e-commerce to really cool mobile apps. So we do anything that's custom, and it just kind of naturally spurred from that idea in high school to a hobby that my brother had of programming to making it into a business.
Wow. So that's really impressive. So he was the developer and the talent skill set in that point, and you came in as the business mind, right? To go sell it and grow it.
Yeah, whatever 2 14-year-olds in terms of programming and business means.
Yeah.
But back then it was basically that's what it was. So it was fun. It was great because we started slow, no expenses, working out of our bedrooms in our parents' house. And then, then moving into the garage like most companies do at that early age, getting our first office and then expanding over the years and now having a massive office that's empty because everybody wants to work from home. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So what have, over the years working with family, what kind of challenges did you face with working with your twin brother?
So he just says yes to everything I say. So it's no problem. No,
Perfect.
He's more he makes the technology decisions. I make the business decisions,
Mm-hmm.
and it's worked out great. We've been in business, since the 90s, and, we still have a lot of happy employees, happy customers and so forth. So, and we're profitable. So can't ask for anything more.
That's amazing. That's amazing. You don't hear that often with many family businesses that they get through that many years without
it's
falling apart or hating each other.
Yeah, no, it's a different situation where, again, the duties of the business are very clear. Like he makes his decisions, I make my decisions. I don't care about what decisions he makes outside of the financial impact, and he doesn't care about decisions I make outside of the impact on the technology. So it's very, very clear. We both trust each other in terms of making the best decisions for the company.
Great. So I know you develop a lot of apps for yourself for Rusty Brick, and then you have your client work. What really drives the business? Which part is bigger, I guess?
So it's really the client consulting work, the building software for our clients. We've built a bunch of novelty apps or apps that are very useful, actually used all the time, for purposes that we felt were useful for ourselves. So I'm Jewish, I'm observant Jew, I pray every day. We have like what's called a siddur or prayer book.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically smart. It knows where you are, what time of the day is, and it will show you what you need to pray at that time, at that location. It tells you the closest synagogue to you and stuff. So stuff that we find useful. It doesn't really make us money. It's not like paying my Jewish private day school bills. But that is something, a way for us to give back to the community, just like you guys do these shows. It's a way for you guys to give back to the community. And then we also built a SaaS platform. A few SaaS platforms that we actually made a significant amount of money on. We did well with that. We did well with that as in terms of selling it to the customers, and we did well in terms of the sale. And then we were doing a bunch of other small SaaS platforms that we're not looking to sell it. We never looked to sell any of this stuff to private equity. It's just that we felt there's a need for it. So we kind of look at what we could build that are useful to us or our communities, and hopefully it just takes off from there. In terms of the consulting work, we have customers that come to us and say, we need to be more efficient, or we need to do more sales, or we need to do X, Y, and Z, or taxi cab software or busing software. So we'll pretty much do anything that's out of the box. If they want e-commerce, we'll be like, go to Shopify or Monster Commerce. But if they want something that is not something that's built, we will build it from scratch.
How do you get new business?
We don't do any online marketing. Coming from a person who talks about marketing all day long, we do zero online marketing. It's basically word of mouth, because the kind of customers we get are spending a lot of money on a piece of software, and I don't think anybody who's going to click on an ad and trust us from that. Maybe there might be some, but most of the stuff I get through any online search traffic is people asking for free advice. So I would say most of our stuff comes from word of mouth, or through the stuff we do for the community or community at large in terms of the apps that we build and so forth.
How have you grown the business over time from a staffing perspective? It started with the two of you, and how big are you now?
We were over like 25 people, close to 30. Then we sold that SaaS platform. We dropped about 8 to 10 people. So we're about the 15-person range now.
Okay.
I think everybody's technically on site, but we're working remote. Historically, we've only actually hired people that were able to work in our office, because we wanted to have a culture and kind of fester off that. But now it's like, especially for developers, I assume for anything, hire anybody, even for a supermarket, it's impossible to find people. So now we're willing to take remote people, but we still want them to be somewhat close to the office, so that if we do want them to come in for whatever purpose, they can. But we're much more easygoing about working remotely, especially because 95% of our workers actually work from home. But hiring people has been almost impossible these days, pretty much, especially developers. I'm in New York, like right next to New York City. So I'm competing against all the big financial firms. Google has offices there, Facebook. So it's really hard to compete there. So we compete on saying, all right, you're not going to get the highest salary, but if you want a great work-life balance and stuff like that. So that's been our pitch. Luckily, most of our employees have been with us for 10 plus years, and they see the value in that. We did actually lose a couple employees during the past 6 months, especially now because hiring is so impossible. People are paying crazy money, and it was great opportunities for them, and we just couldn't compete. So, which is good. So a lot of those employees are still with us in terms of constantly communicating with them. One actually went to get a job at some big firm, and they hired our company to do a massive project for them. So
love that.
Teams kind of works out in the end. So I'm much more relaxed these days about running a business. You run the business here, right?
I help. Yeah.
So
I work with Matt and Greg, and I do a lot of the new business development and all of that.
A lot of stress in terms of making sure the profit loss statement looks right, and making sure the employees are happy and all that type of stuff. So
hiring is so hard right now, competing, finding good applicants. Like, I used to post a job for a project manager 2 years ago, and you'd get 200 resumes in a day. Now you post it for 3 weeks. You're lucky if you get 10 resumes, and most of them are garbage. So it's hard to find good people, much less keep them.
It's funny. If somebody applies to my company, I'm like, why? What's wrong with you? Like, why are you looking for a job?
You put them through the test.
Yeah. And often we have a quick test we send them, like, please take this quick programming test, and it weeds out people in no time. But we're really looking hard to find, if anybody is a developer in the tri-state New York area looking for a job, it's a good place to work. So hopefully you guys will apply. It's mostly on LAMP stack, so mostly PHP, SQL, native mobile app development. So yeah.
Nice. Well, so you talked a little bit about your culture and work-life balance. What kinds of things do you do that you think are different, or that would make people want to work for you?
It's interesting you say that, because now everybody talks about doing this because they have to get employees. But back in the old days, it was like people would just mistreat their employees. I want to treat employees like I would want them to treat me. There's like everybody, like I will take out the garbage in the office. I will, do whatever it takes because I'm not any better than any one of my employees. In fact, they're all better than me because I hired them because they have skills that I don't have. So it's really just like valuing their time and making sure they are happy working for us, not just financially fit and making sure they can financially afford to do what they need to do. That's obviously a prerequisite for anything in terms of hiring somebody. You can't underpay them. You have to make sure they can support their families. But it all comes back to their families. Like, do they have time to be with their families? Do they have time to take care of their kids if they're sick or whatever it might be, especially during COVID? Remember, it was like March 2020 and they're all freaking out. And I said, I promise you, you will have a job here. Even if we don't get a dime from a customer today for the next year, you will have your full salary for the next year no matter what.
Wow.
And most of them deeply appreciated. They all appreciated that. But then, a year and a half later, when they get a job offer for twice what they're making, which is, I can't imagine paying somebody that much. They took it. Some of them, one or two of them took it, and I don't blame them. I'm happy for them. It makes sense for them and their family. At the same time, I don't think you would get that from most companies where the CEO basically say, "Don't worry, even if we don't have a dime coming into the business for the next year." I actually, 6 months later, I said for another 2 years because we got the PPP loan and stuff like that. So I said, "You're good for at least another 2 years." They appreciated that. Thankfully, our business was great. We didn't have any slowdown in revenue or anything like that during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
We were very, very lucky. But I didn't know. Nobody knew. When we first hit, nobody knew how their revenues would be impacted. All our customers called us and said, we might have to scale back. Some of them kind of did. Some of them increased spending. So it was a very scary situation. But thankfully, I'm a paranoid person and I always put enough money away for, worst case scenarios.
Global pandemic.
Who knew? Yeah.
Who knew that's what you were saving for?
Yeah.
Well, that sounds really great. And I agree. It's really hard to tell people. I always talk about how great Cypress North is and how I love it here. And it's so intangible to be like, I really trust them because they're good people. And then people are like, oh, okay. It's hard to explain why or what that means or how you can put that into real terms of what you get here versus somewhere else.
Right.
So it's just a challenge for everybody.
Well, I mean, it shows. I mean, you guys have grown significantly over the past, 10 years or so, even less, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
I know Greg for a long time. He's just a genuine, nice guy. He won't be seeing this because he doesn't know that I think that about him. But
we'll use it for blackmail.
Yeah. But no, he's a good guy. And it all starts with just being a good person and treating people with respect and doing whatever you can to protect your people. So yeah, everybody says, oh, our company's like a family. You see that from like the Walmart commercials where a family. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to be a family when you're Walmart size, but it's easy for us. We're a smaller company. Like I'm a 15 person, used to be 25 person company. You guys are a 25 person company. It's easier for us to do that because we're in that sweet spot where we're small, but yet we probably have enough revenue to go ahead and take care of our employees in the way they need to be taken care of.
Yeah, it's a big trust is a big item of that. So like when you say I'll pay your salary for 2 years, don't worry about anything. Even if we have no business, you still have a job for at least 2 years. If 3 months later you came back and said, sorry, never mind, we actually don't have any business and now I got to cut 5 of you, then everyone wouldn't trust you anymore and they probably wouldn't feel the same way about you. So the fact that you say those things and they believe it and they know that it's true.
It didn't happen. I mean, our clients did end up paying us, most of them. Not all of them. And we had revenue coming in, so it wasn't an issue. But yeah, if it would have been not one dime for a year, I would have kept my word.
Yeah. Besides hiring, do you have any other big challenges that your agency is facing right now?
It's all about resources, having enough people, getting what the clients want done in a certain amount of time. The other issues haven't been issues in a while, like finding the right clients. That's always that used to be an issue where the clients would mistreat our employees and mistreat us. And I would always tell my clients back then, and be like, if you want to yell at one of my employees, don't come to me and yell at me. I don't want you taking out an employee because that's not your place. You can't do that. So we haven't had clients like that, thankfully, in a long time. Most of our clients have been pretty good about paying. So making receivables is always an issue for a lot of customers. So thankfully that hasn't been an issue recently. We're just in a very good spot right now. The only thing we could use more of are employees.
What do you see impacting your business the most in the next few years?
The people. I mean, again,
Yeah.
I always say like happy programmers make for happy code, make for happy, customers. And then that cycle goes on, and happy customers lead to more customers. So it's just about making sure our people are happy and productive. This way it trickles down to building out really great code and really great products for our customers, who then recommend this to their customers and their colleagues. So that's the cycle. So as long as we can keep doing that, I think we need to keep finding good people to do that.
What trends in your industry are you most excited about?
That's a hard one. So there's always something new technology wise. So initially we were just doing web software. Then the mobile iOS came out, iPhone apps, and the first iPhone came out. I was like lined up at the door waiting to pick it up, and there were no apps on it. So I'm like, what could we build? So I think I asked my brother, like, could we build anything? Like, they don't let us build anything. There's no apps. So then Steve Jobs was convinced to go ahead and let the third-party developers build. So then we built, some of our first apps. Then we built for Android, because the Android came out after that. After that, there was, I think, Google Glass for those things. So we built some stuff for that, which was cool.
Oh, cool.
Then there's we didn't really get into the AR and VR stuff, not so much, just a little bit here, specifically within apps. And it's hard to say. I'm really into like the home automation, HomeKit type of stuff. Like, how could you integrate your software with things in your office or things in your home? So like when you should turn the lights on or the heat on based on timer data or task management stuff, kind of like integrating different areas of your business into physical aspects of your business as well. So that's kind of like the home automation, office automation types of solutions. Personally, I'm like really excited about the next evolution of electronic, like EV cars, electronic stuff, and seeing if they offer any type of SDKs, especially around, CarPlay and Android Auto. CarPlay is like adopted in every car and everybody uses it. They can't get a car without it. And in fact, my lease, 3 years ago was like, I could only get a car that had CarPlay. And there was like one car that had it. That was a sedan that had all-wheel drive, and I got that one. And ever since then, I couldn't go to a car without it. And I think voice, like search everywhere, if you think about it that way, like search anywhere you go, like in the car, on the refrigerator, on your, talking to things and stuff like that. And then visual search I thought Google Glass would be really cool, like look at stuff and be able to like, handle that. I also got the spectacles from Snapchat, which I wore like once or twice. I drove here wearing the Facebook Ray-Ban glasses.
Oh.
They died like 5 minutes into the drive. And so those are the types of things. I like how there's integration with technology in your life and your office.
Yeah, that's really cool when you think about like a smart home. And I'd love to be at my office and think, oh, I got to send an Instacart order. Hey, fridge, what are we out of? Those kinds of things. Like all of those practical applications would be nice.
Like during like when I used to come home from the office, as I left my office, I set my purifier in my home office to start to go on and like say, kids, get out of this office. I'm coming home. Because they were like all over the place and stuff. So I'm like, they exited the room, the air purifier went on, cleared out the whole entire home office. So it's just stupid things like that, like patterns. Like I'm all about, my mind works about efficiency. How can I do something in the most efficient way so I get the most amount of stuff done? Most people think they get a lot done. And then the people who see me, how much I get done, say, oh, you get a lot more done than most people. So it's all about just how can I cut steps out of everything and make things just a little bit more efficient. From even like where I put my phone in my pocket. Usually I never keep it in my pocket down here. I keep it over here because then it's just like that.
Easier to grab it.
Going in here, getting it out of your pocket. It's stupid things, but that's the way I work, and it drives my wife crazy. Because like, everything you do, you have to do in a certain way that make sure you take the least amount of steps. It's like it won't kill you to lose some weight to take a little bit more steps to go up and downstairs. Instead of you walk back downstairs just to turn off the light. You don't have to do it when you walk upstairs the first time. I'm like, no, I'm doing it when I'm downstairs. I'm not. So then not all our light switches are completely automated. So if kids leave the lights on, I'm just constantly turning stuff off. And people could be in rooms, I'm turning stuff off, and they get annoyed at me. But I'm all into that type of like technology integrated into your day-to-day lives.
That's cool. So what would you tell someone who is new or just graduating college or just starting a new career, but getting into software development industry or the marketing industry?
They should first apply to Rusty. No, I'm just joking. What should they do? They should just do it if they love it. Like if their mind thinks about at least with us, most of our programmers think, I see this being done this way. How can I go ahead and make that more efficient? And that's like the mind of a programmer looks at things and says, that doesn't make sense to do it that way. We should really be done doing this, and this way. We get so many of our clients coming to us say, I use a spreadsheet for this. I use Google Docs for that. I use this for that. We're like, you know how much time and effort you're wasting? When I first started doing billing for my company, it used to take me almost all day to do the billing. Now it takes me I just review the timesheets very quickly. There's like flags and AI or technology that highlights issues. And then I press one button and the invoices go out. It takes me literally like 10 minutes to do billing, as it used to take me all day. So anything that they could do to like make life better or more efficient in personal life or business life, if a programmer could think about solutions or hacks or whatever to do that, I think they know they want to go into programming if they do that.
Okay, lightning round before we wrap up. Favorite thing to read outside of SEO news?
People ask me what my hobby is, and it's SEO news. I guess EV news, electronic car news, or I like Wired magazine. Okay.
Best way to relax outside of work. Do you relax outside of work?
No. I mean,
I've heard you rarely sleep.
I sleep a lot on Shabbat, which is a Jewish, whatever. So I have to be completely offline for 25 hours from Friday night till Saturday night. So I get that offline time with family and stuff, and I sleep a lot there too. So it's that time. That's the one thing I do. So I get that time offline. Otherwise, I really prefer to work over anything else.
Just be online all day, every day.
I would love to be online 24/7 and never disconnect.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Best thing to happen or change during the pandemic that you hope stays around?
All these online delivery features. You press a button, everything just shows up no matter what. The Amazon was great at that before the pandemic, where you press a button, you get something in like 6 hours or less. Now it's like everything, every single restaurant, you press a button, comes to your door. Again, it'd be healthier if I got up and got in the car and drove there or walked to the place. But it's just, I love it. I love that you could do Target pickup. You press a button and they just put it in your trunk. Basically less physical social interactions with people is better, in my opinion.
Okay, cool. I like those features too. I like that.
Social distancing was great. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Tell our listeners where they can find more of your content. I know you have a long list of places, but where do you post the most, or where do you?
The easiest way to find it is on Twitter at Rusty Brick.
Okay.
That's my username.
Great. So follow at Rusty Brick on Twitter. Thank you so much, Barry. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to the Agency Scoop.
The Agency Scoop is produced by Cypress North, a digital agency in Buffalo, New York. Our producer is Greg Finn. Our editor is Eric Barnes. Our graphics are by Sammy Hansen.
Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, and anywhere you get your podcasts.
You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn to share your thoughts about the episode and give us ideas for future topics.
We'll see you next time.